My biggest thing is I think selling your home to an iBuyer, maybe not now, but I think in the future, it really could be kind of like a status piece. It's kind of like, hey, like.
I don't have time for this
right?
bullshit listing thing. I'm just going to sell it to an iBuyer because I have lots of money and I don't care.
Welcome to the iBuyer experiment. We are so excited to be with you guys here today as we have a lot of disruption to the disruption, right, on the iBuyer experiment.
Right.
Not only that, we have a lot of 2023 predictions that Jay's going to share with us. There's just a lot of really cool current topics that we have for you guys today, so let's dive in and get after it.
Sounds juicy.
It is juicy. Well, we were just talking about this juicy one. Redfin now shuttered their iBuying program.
I know.
That's the headline. But what's the truth behind
Yeah, I was going to
this?
say, why don't you give us the insight on that because you have a little a juicy nugget on that.
Well, here's the thing. Redfin now came out about last week, and they shut down their iBuying program. But the takeaway is they're now displaying the preliminary open door offer for home sellers on Redfin. So Redfin now expanded their market.
Yeah, I was going to say, because Redfin now is pretty much in California.
Exactly.
Right? Like that was their market presence. So now by shutting that down and putting Open Door that's in like 45 markets, that's a massive expansion.
100% massive expansion. So now you have Zillow displaying the preliminary open door offer.
300 million eyeballs.
Which actually hasn't happened yet. They've actually not started that yet.
Hasn't hit yet. But Redfin, they shut it down and they had it on there within a week.
That was quick.
So this was something that was in the works for a while. I mean, we know how integrations work with companies. It's not overnight.
You think a total, against the grain in some of our topics here, but just a little thought. Do you think Zillow's maybe got some grumblings in the background, quality of lead that they're going to jump back in, especially with, Open Door's stock under $2, Open Door or OfferPad's stock under $1. If they disappear, they jump back in, dude, they will.
Well, Redfin's like $4. It's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad.
I think all tech stocks are obliterated right now.
Well, the only one that seems actually, I know that they're down. especially since they jumped into the iBuy space is Zillow. Right? They've been holding between like $32 and $40 a share for the last pretty much since they shut down the iBuy.
Which is a big
effort.
Swing, by the way.
I think, Jay, you maybe remember.
They were like up at 200.
As I said, their highs were, they were 150 plus. I thought so, yeah. That's a massive hit.
No, they hit 200, so they were pretty high.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone was, and everyone's in the crapper right now. Compass as well, too. I think Compass could be picked up by a private investor and taken over.
There have been rumors of that, and Robert Reffkin has adamantly denied it, but there's definitely been talk of it.
Such an interesting, way. I know we talked about that actually on one of the last podcasts. I still, and I personally want to look into that, where they had like 1,000 developers on staff, around their tech that they were creating. Yeah, like I've never seen a piece of any innovation roll out from those guys. They have cool branding. I like their color scheme. I like their color palette that they roll out. Right? I think they had a lot of cool stuff with that, but that's about it for me.
Well, back to iBuying, I want to kind of touch on this because I think all of these headlines make real estate agents think that it's going away.
Yes. So our, as we all know, in Zoodealio, our sales team, there's a whole outreach department that calls agents and, to share our business vision and model. And I know that's been some of the sales team has been getting that feedback. Well, this isn't really relevant in my market. They're all going to go bankrupt anyways. We've been getting that, response.
Hey, Open Doors, they're getting around. They ain't going anywhere.
No. Open Door still has they still have $2.5 billion. They have cash.
Yeah,
it's not. They may have lost $1 billion, but it could have been a lot worse.
Could have been a lot worse.
And what Eric Wu said, that part of the reason why they lost so much is because they actually stuck to their contracts.
Yep.
Back when the market was tanking, they could have canceled a bunch of contracts and saved a lot of money, but they said they were going to worry about their brand and actually take on the contract.
Yeah, a long-term play, right?
I think that that's such BS. You and I talked about that. I think
I
it's totally BS. I think it's PR. I think if you look back at the pandemic, they had no qualms about cutting.
Yeah, that is true. They
right.
cut ties massive. Yep.
This is not them cutting. Like, this is them not knowing. I mean, they straight out came out and said that their algorithm couldn't predict future home prices. Like, they admitted that. There's now a class action lawsuit from their investors on that exact same thing. So when I hear something like that, I'm like, great spin, great spin.
Yep, it was definitely
another PR move.
Yes,
like you said.
Yep.
So we don't believe iBuyers are going away. Here's the thing: in a world where they do, the value proposition is still irresistible.
It elevates for the agent. Actuality, right? Like, you know, the data point of almost 50% of the houses requesting a cash offer before they hit the market in iBuyer present, you know, dominant markets, is an overwhelming data point, right? Of the consumer has spoken that they're looking for this to be the new basis, the easy button, right? And why wouldn't you? If the numbers work, if the opportunity is there for you to control all pieces of it, it just makes sense. And so for agents and really just the Amazon selling experience, it isn't going anywhere.
Well, the selling proposition isn't. That's
what I'm talking about. Yeah,
we were just reading an article. What was that article in where a homeowner was talking about their cash value or their cash offer value? They weren't talking about their value, the value of the house or their estimate or whatever. They were talking about their cash offer value. So people are. I mean, they know that it's out there. That they know they can go out there and get different cash offers and find out, you know, what their house is worth for a now price.
Yep. Well, and the thing is, we talk about this all the time. It's not just about OfferPad and Open Door. Those are just the companies where the flashlight is that everyone can see it, right?
Yeah, their market share is little.
There's so many other institutional buyers, I guess, behind the scenes, if you will, that maybe consumers or even real estate agents don't really know exist or haven't really dealt with. They've cooled down, and some of them have kind of tapped out right now and just say, hey, you know what? This fourth quarter, let's just take a step back, which is where I think some of these numbers where these, you know, where they're saying these the iBuyers have, you know, significantly decreased their purchases. But we know when quarter of 2023 comes around, they're going to ramp things up, and then it's going to come back. Maybe not quite as full force as we saw when the market was super crazy, but it's going to come back big time again, and then it's going to be the talk of the town again.
And how they're buying, you know, even in like the shareholder reporting, how they're buying now versus how they were buying, right? Once all these start to filter in, and they, you know, like again, their losses obviously were here, and then now they're going to go like this, right? They're going to meet in the middle because of how they're acquiring properties now. Is they're buying them right? They're cutting those losses, and so they're on their way back to the black, you know, in a lot of strategies. But I know you had a data point on the investors on that. Will you share that, because like I think that's such a key indicator.
Yeah, absolutely. In quarter 3 of this year, investor purchases are down 30%. And if you look at markets like Phoenix, investor purchases are down 49%. So you look at the transactional volume being significantly decreased. It's essentially by the amount of the investor purchases.
Yep. What's our read between the lines on that, right? Like around trend setting, you know, because again, they have the best, investors have access to the best data. Right, they're looking at the macroeconomic.
Do they? Okay, do they?
Let's should.
Ask Open Door. Let's ask Open Door how the data worked for them.
The ultimate investor.
I think that if you look at their purchasing behavior, OfferPad has way outperformed Open Door as far as purchases. And why is that? I think it's because you have a real estate practitioner at the helm.
Yep.
You're not relying off of an algorithm. And some data scientist who thinks he's so smart that they can create something. For sure.
Well, and not only that, they're doing things on future predictions.
Yeah. So I think a little bit, we have to take everything with a grain of salt. And I think we learned that from Zillow, too. Mm-hmm. So don't be romantic about these fancy algorithms.
Yep. It's just an algorithm.
That is very true. Very true. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can't predict, right? Like, you know, I mean, obviously
predict the breakneck speed of interest rates going from 3 to 7, and
we knew inflation was going to. We knew inflation was going to hit with as much money was pumped into the economy. I don't think we knew inflation was going to hit at the level that it hit.
I don't think people realized the Fed was going to be that aggressive.
I didn't know,
because they weren't for so long. They kind of sat on their hands for a long time, and then they really got aggressive fast.
So okay. The theory could be, this could be kind of my thesis, is that these institutional buyers were in full effect, or interest rates were insanely low. Their cap rates on these properties were really high, and it just made a lot of sense to acquire these properties, put them in a fund, give out a return, and continue doing it and grow it and do it all over the country. And what has happened, which we've all seen firsthand, and I know that we've experienced here personally at Zoodealio as well, is these institutional buyers have not just slowed down, they've pumped the brakes.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about that, because you've got, dozens of funds, public and private, that were acquiring literally tens of thousands.
They're paying over list price.
They were paying whatever they could for the property, which would make sense, right? When you can tie it up when their money was so cheap. So now that money's more expensive, now that kind of macroeconomic uncertainties are great, we've seen them pull back. So I know that, Keith, you have a lot of insight on that because you interface directly with our funds. So talk to us about like what you're seeing and what you think the future holds for them.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. When you have the money, guess what? You can be patient. You can create your own rules, right? They want to know, based on the macroeconomic uncertainty of the marketplace, where things are going. So let's either significantly be more conservative on our offers, which is what's happening right now. Everybody's doing that. Or let's just pump the brakes, figure out where we're at with our inventory, figure out where the market's going and what our next move is. That's what's happening right now. From conversations that I've had, I think majority of them, regardless of them being conservative on their offers or the ones that have just said, hey, let's just stop and see where this goes, they're really waiting for their quarter 2023. Now, is it January 1st? Boom, are we good to go? No, probably not. I would think it's probably going to be more toward the end of January, where they're kind of seeing where's inventory, what's rates, what's the Fed's going to do, things like that, right?
You mean the end of 2023?
Buyer and renter confidence is really what they're probably. 2023 was. I didn't say that.
You said end of January.
Yeah,
2023.
2023.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
I think that's when we're going to start seeing truly where they're all going to go to next, and the ones that did dip out that aren't purchasing right now, they'll probably start coming back into the marketplace. That's what I think. But hey, you know what? Kudos to them. They don't have to buy properties right now. And
exactly.
If they want to be aggressive and wait for the right deal, it makes sense. They can do that, and that's just what we're dealing with in the marketplace right now.
I 100% agree. And if you look at like Invitation Homes, their stock, for instance, it's not had a cataclysmic drop. Their stock has remained pretty solid. And so I think that the funds are just being kind of, they're being very conservative right now because they can.
Yep.
And why not?
Well, and my biggest thing, right, like, is especially for them is it's all based on rents, right? And a lot of times the rents are going to be based on the income, right? There's a lot of variables inside of that particular piece, and so, I mean, I can tell you right now, again, I was just actually talking to some people within my network around how fast properties are renting, people that manage, property management companies, et cetera. And they definitely have seen things slow down a little bit. Like there's not like a waiting list. Like there's certain properties that they have to prime them, prep them to get them rented. They're still renting, but not as fast as they once were. So they definitely have noticed there's been lease price reductions.
Okay, great.
So there's definitely downward pressure on leases. Obviously, there's downward pressure on home prices. However, let's talk a little bit about the trends for 2023, because we still believe that there is no housing crash that's coming.
No,
not unless something happens.
I was just reading this article where it looks like that they're projecting a 1.5% depreciation across America in 2023.
Okay,
1.5%.
So, of course, that could
not
be
too bad, but that's not. Different markets are going to
exactly.
be.
Yeah, right. That's the overarching.
Phoenix is going to take about 50% of that.
Yeah.
It already has too, right? Like we know that, but let's talk.
So I got this up. No housing bubble and economists' top 10 predictions for 2023. Number one, there is no housing bubble. Number two, mortgage rates will drop. They're saying that it's probably going to drop in the.
It already has been dropping.
It has. And purchase applications are up the past 2 weeks. Week over week, they're up.
Number three, don't expect inventory to grow significantly. They talk about how there's 25 to 30 million homeowners that have mortgage rates around 3% or lower.
They're not going to bounce out.
They're not. Those 25 to 30 million homeowners are not going to bounce out of their house. They're not going to bounce out.
Dude, that's unless they have of the 160 million homes. Think about that. I mean, that's a massive number.
You have
20%.
divorce, death, and career changes and stuff like that. So those people,
life events. Yeah.
Number 4, no buyer's market, but a more balanced one.
Yep. I could see that.
Number 5, sellers will have to become more realistic.
What?
Shocking.
Oh man.
I think they already are, though. They already are. With Open Door, I think Eric Wu said that he was kind of surprised on how many people were accepting their offers now, because they were obviously lowball. They're lowball offers, and he's surprised that people
think
are still
about that.
taking them.
The CEO of a company that's acquiring houses for profit, he's shocked that sellers are accepting their offers because he knows that they're making low aggressive offers. So think about what that's going to do to the stocks and everything else that we were just talking about.
I don't think they're lowball offers. I think they're offers that give what market value is, with the opportunity to say, hey, well, we're hedging our bet because we don't know what this thing's truly going to resell for, and clearly based on results, that home seller's not confident either. Otherwise, they would have put it on the market.
I think they're pretty sure that they're going to make money on the houses that they're buying right now.
We'll see.
That's I think so too.
I mean, if they don't, then this is a market that we've never.
I don't think there's 75 cents on the dollar offers or something like that. But I'm
pretty close to it.
Well, hey, you know what?
They are.
I think
you think so?
Yeah.
I think they'll make money too, but I think they should make money. They're giving a service that creates the convenience and certainty that homeowners are looking for.
So,
I don't
or they're
see
putting a
anything wrong
price
with
on
that.
that.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I agree.
My biggest thing is I think selling your home to an iBuyer, maybe not now, but I think in the future, it really could be kind of like a status piece. It's kind of like, hey, like...
I don't have time for this
right?
bullshit listing thing. I'm just going to sell it to an iBuyer because I have lots of money and I don't care.
We've talked about this many times. Trading in your car versus once upon a time having to sell your car.
Yeah.
Right? It's that same mindset.
Well, the largest cohort of sellers right now are baby boomers, and so they're older. Maybe they're valuing their time more. Maybe getting to where they want to be next is more important than hanging around to squeeze every last little cent out of their home.
Right.
So, we see that they're still accepting these offers.
Their kids are going to inherit just a little bit less money, but they have a little extra more time in their life. So yeah, I think it's good.
So let me just touch on this one last time, and then we can move on. So here's the thing. Here's why I don't think they're lowball offers. There is no guarantee. There is no certainty of what the house is going to sell for on the open market. So let's put it in this perspective. You're a listing agent. You can say, hey, based on what I'm seeing, there's a possibility that I can, obviously you communicate it different to sellers, but that's what's truly going on. There's a possibility that I can sell your house for $500,000 on the open market. Well, after possible price reductions or a buyer, let's say it sells for $445. So what is it? You did a lowball listing. It could be the same argument can be made.
Well, that's what I talk about buying the listing.
But what if that open door offer was $445? Is it really lowball anymore? So that's the approach and perspective that I take.
Sure. Yeah.
I totally see your angle and follow your thought on it. And I think that's part of what today's more modern consumer is putting a price on, is the certainty and convenience, right? Being able to move when you want, being able to access your money faster, right? That's the other thing too, though. Like, think about that. I mean, I know that we've had a couple of acceptances at Zoodealio recently where people are accepting the offer because they need to access their cash for another investment, right? Or to buy another house, right? There's an absolute price that they're putting on being able to access their cash now.
Absolutely. Liquidity is expensive.
That's right. All right, I'll go back to this 2023 predictions. Number 6, workers return to work.
Ooh.
Sort of.
So, okay, we're seeing this.
We're going to quit paying people to stay home?
Well, we know Elon Musk has demanded all Twitter employees back in the office. I just read that Snapchat has demanded that employees are back in the office. So you have these companies that were like, work from home forever. And now the tune has changed quickly.
Yeah, you want to know why? Because I guarantee you their productivity went down at some level. Okay. Guarantee.
Clearly.
I saw an ad. I have to share this. I saw an ad for what's one of the job posting things that what's one? Indeed. So where it was like I put this out there and I basically like promoting how this like he wasn't getting hired and then he wants to work at home. And all the times that it's talking about working at home, it's showing him playing with his kids while he's supposed to be working at home. And I was just like, yo, the message that's sending to employers.
Yeah.
Oh, it happens.
Hell yes, it does.
Yeah. All right, number 7, new construction activity unlikely to increase. Okay.
I agree with that.
New construction?
New construction
Unlikely
activity.
to increase.
Huh.
Yeah, I think
Because they threw. I know a lot of them really kind of pulled back, right? I mean, there's a lot of people that were trying to get out of their new build loans, the whole bit.
Of course, it's going to decrease this year because
Of course.
they have a glut of inventory. They're not going to ramp up from last year.
No.
Right. They're not going to just build spec homes.
I
and
totally
keep
agree
them.
with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
Number 8, not all markets are created equal.
110%.
Yep. Going back to 49%.
In Phoenix,
In
and
Phoenix.
we're
Yeah,
investor
depreciation of
friendly.
investors.
What's hilarious since I've got into real estate in 2010, and you guys heard this before me being in the industry, and it's still holding true today. I mean, think about it. Regardless of what market we're in, who's setting the trend?
Always Phoenix.
Yeah,
Phoenix.
it's kind of wild if you think about it. That has
from
never changed.
Almost here to California, New York
yeah.
Stock
It's
Exchange.
kind of wild if you think about it.
It is
It's kind of
wild.
cool to be in it too. It's like we the trendsetter.
It is cool until we run out of water, and then it's not going to be
Oh
so
boy,
cool.
That's
drill deeper. We're just going to drill deeper.
That's another podcast.
That's a hoax.
That's been my biggest thing. That's my biggest fear.
That's a CAI PSYOP conspiracy theory.
The silver minnow.
I don't think we have enough water, guys. I think there's.
We're just going to drill deeper.
You can't. You'll have
We're going to move
fishers.
to Lake Tahoe.
Yes.
All right, number 9, affordability will continue to be a major issue.
Duh.
Affordability, yeah. I mean, that's obviously it's.
That's
Unless there's a massive price reduction,
I
then
mean,
that's,
they're
that's the
basically
only-
saying that we're not going to we're not going to have a crash. Right?
Yeah, we're not,
'Cause
yeah.
If we had a crash, then affordability wouldn't be a major issue. So, it's going to continue to be a major issue. And number 10,
100%.
governments will start to take housing more seriously.
yes. Yes, I see that. I mean, Congress just introduced the Stop Wall Street Landlords
Yeah.
Act.
Yeah, talk about
I don't
that.
know what that is. I
Okay,
haven't heard
so
that.
at the end of
Such a fine
October,
line.
some legislators in California introduced a bill they're calling the Stop Wall Street Landlords Act. And essentially what it will do is it'll make these single-family rental companies with $100 million and more of assets, it will impose a transaction tax on any of their purchases. And it will also prohibit Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and Ginnie Mae from purchasing their mortgages. So it would definitely make it way more expensive to operate. There could be some liquidity issues. They wouldn't be able to resell off their mortgages. So it could have a big impact.
Yeah.
What's up with California? Why can't
Well,
they
it makes.
just-
I mean, because it's.
I did an
don't wanna-
informal Instagram poll, and I kind of laid out all the details about the Stop Wall Street Landlord Act. And then I asked my followers, do you think this is good? And I also laid out the fact that of the 20 million single family rentals across the United States, only 3%, actually a little bit less than 3%, are institutionally owned. So that's about 600,000 homes. And I asked my Instagram followers, do you think the government should intervene? Is this necessary? And overwhelmingly, 93% of my Instagram followers said, yes, the government should do something about them.
That's insane.
That's scary because the government meddling in their hands. Not going off a
It's
tangent,
such a fine
it
line.
Never solves anything. It
It's
only makes
disruption of
things worse.
capitalism. That's what that is. That's disruption of capitalism.
Well, we have a different millennials or Gen Zs.
Yeah, it's
Brainwashed, bro. They're brainwashed.
that's that. I mean, like I said, that's my I mean, I also think that they're going to get way more creative, right? Then they'll just diversify, break up the companies, break up, LLCs, those types of things.
Well, I don't think it's not going to pass. The House is just taken over by Republicans. They're not going to.
Yeah.
It's not going to pass.
And that was kind of the takeaway is
Yeah.
that now that there's kind of new regime in the House, that this is very unlikely to pass. But they're thinking about it. They're introducing legislation about
The fact that it was even
starting.
introduced.
it. Right.
Starting. Yep.
Well, a lot going on in this real estate world for sure. We just want to say thank you for listening. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow for
Yep.
more iBuyer Experiment.
Thanks, guys.
Have a strong December.
Yep.